Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome very, 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 very much to this Louisiana webinar where we'll be talking today about tastes and tunes, music and food. Music is food to the heart, and that's what Louisiana has. And we've got four very, very, very important people here today to talk to me all about it. And we have Chu from New Orleans, we have Eugenie from Lafayette, we have Laura from Visit Baton Rouge, and we have Megan from Explore Louisiana. Good afternoon or good morning, ladies.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
Hi, good
How you
morning.
doing?
Wonderful. Good.
Right. So let's start off. Music is obviously an inherent part of culture in Louisiana. You know, wherever you go, I've been lucky enough to have been a couple of times, but wherever you go, be it morning, noon, or night, it seeps into the entire culture. So, Megan, is that something that you start from birth? You know, people start talking about it from birth. You listen to music every day.
Absolutely. It's just something that we've been born with and we live with throughout our entire lives here in Louisiana. And I like to say, Louisiana is made of live music. So whether you're strolling through the streets of the French Quarter or you're listening to, a country concert in LSU Stadium, or you're in a dance hall in Lafayette, which is the heart of Cajun country, or you're walking through the halls of the Municipal Auditorium in Shreveport, Louisiana, where the coin was phrased, Elvis has left the building, because he was performing in his earlier career during the Louisiana Hayride. So you get to experience music in all walks of it when you're here visiting us in Louisiana.
Excellent. Well, I must admit, when I've been there, it's a revelation because almost every venue you go to, there's somebody playing on a guitar, playing the piano, singing whatever music it is. I think with New Orleans, Chew, that they tend to be associated with jazz. Jazz, is that right?
Yes, the United States actually is full of cities that have their own rich jazz histories, but none go as far back as New Orleans. The it was just a genre that was created over time. In New Orleans specifically, some say jazz grew out of drumming and voodoo rituals that took place in New Orleans, Congo Square before the Civil War. Others say jazz was born in 1895, the year that Buddy Bolden released his first album. It's a wonderful genre of music, and it's a compilation of readings and mixings of music, and it's drums, horns, and bells that is recreated over time. But in New Orleans, you can find live traditional jazz anywhere in the streets of our city.
And jazz is such a wide genre, isn't it? I mean, we're not just talking about Louis Armstrong type jazz. You know, there's all sorts of jazz. And is it easy to get to see some of the more famous people that play jazz?
Absolutely. One of my recommendations is Preservation Hall. It is a historic venue that's right in the French Quarter, and they offer live traditional jazz 3 times every night. And it's a very intimate setting. It only allows up to 45 patrons per concert. And you can you can experience this any day of the week.
It's interesting with the origins of jazz because when I was in New Orleans, the first thing I did was on a tour, and they were talking about the influence of opera at the beginning of or the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century. That opera may have had a role in it, in the use of some of the instruments. So it really is a fascinating subject, isn't it?
It is, and it's so full of history, so many, valuations over time. And we actually have a national historic park in New Orleans that's dedicated to jazz. So here you can learn about the full history of jazz and how it was, revelation in our city, how it started in our city, and how it's become one of the main known genres that you will listen to when you are visiting.
Good. Well, Louisiana isn't just about jazz, as I think I mentioned before. And Eugenie, in Lafayette, we have more what I would call traditional music, is it? You know, the sort of the influence of Cajun music.
So yes, Cajun, we are Cajun country, so home of the Acadian people, and Cajun is just like it sounds. It's our French culture. It's folk style music and still sung in French today. So the instruments are a little different. Our locals love our music. So yeah, you can hear Cajun music 7 days a week.
Excellent. And what sort of, I mean, there's some predominant instruments in Cajun music, aren't there?
Right, so you see the tifrere, which is a triangle that's used to keep time. And then also the accordion is played in Cajun music, as well as you'll see the fiddle, sometimes the guitar, but those are the typical instruments that you would see.
I read somewhere, or I saw somewhere, that the accordion was from German butchers that came over, and they started playing the accordion. People thought, this is a good idea, we're going to start using this.
It is. It's diatonic, it's rhythmic. It makes a loud sound so you can hear it. And it's still, now we call it Cajunized. So we've made it our way, the size that works for our instrument, and you see it in Cajun music still today. And it's unwritten, which is interesting too.
And in Lafayette, it's easy to come and see some of this music live?
Of course, yes. You can do everything from a Cajun jam at Muncus Park early in the morning at the farmer's market to something like La Poussière, which is a traditional dance hall, or anywhere throughout the downtown area. We have so many great places to hear live music.
And is this bluegrass, or is that something completely different?
No, Cajun music sounds like folk music. Now we also have Zydeco music that comes from our Creole ancestors. It's more rhythmic and bluesy sounding. And the instruments are different as well. You still have the accordion. It might look a little different. It's sung in French and English, and you have they've made an instrument out of a scrub board, which you would usually do laundry with, but you play it to keep rhythm. So it's very fun and vibrant. And you can hear that 7 days a week as well. One of my favorite places to go and listen to Zydeco music is at Buck and Johnny's for their Zydeco breakfast early in the morning with cocktails flowing, live music, great food, just an overall great atmosphere with the dancing, or somewhere like Blue Moon Saloon right in the heart of the downtown Lafayette area, or Freetown. And it's a hostel, but the stage is the back porch of the home. So very cool.
Good. And when was the last time you did laundry with one of those boards?
I don't need to do laundry with that. I've got 4 kids. I do a heck of a lot of laundry.
Very good. Very good. Well, as I said, that the music genres go across almost every single area. But Laura, in Baton Rouge, blues is a big thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So, you know, blues was kind of born, of course, out of the hardships, and everybody kind of up and down the Mississippi River makes claim to blues. But we, of course, really say that Baton Rouge is the birthplace of blues, and specifically swamp blues. And so we celebrate that each year with a blues festival. We have the oldest blues festival in the United States, the Baton Rouge Blues Fest. And this year, you know, we saw some of the influences that come out of that. It was really fun. We had a Korean musician who was playing in a small, intimate setting, who had been influenced by Henry Gray, one of the oldest, Baton Rouge blues musicians, ever. And so this young Korean girl had been influenced by a Baton Rouge musician from decades ago. It was just fascinating to see, so really interesting to see how the Baton Rouge blues movement has evolved and has kind of changed, over time. And the city, of course, has changed with it. So, it's a neat genre for sure.
And it's influenced so many other super bands, like the Rolling Stones, for example, would have played the blues music on their first album. Well, I know that for a fact. None of you are old enough, obviously, to remember that, but I am, and they did play the blues. But again, with live, I'm assuming that that on every street corner you can almost go and see some live blues music in Baton Rouge.
There's a great chance to see blues music, but also a lot of different genres. So we have a lot of live, clubs where you can see rock and roll music, as well as, blues, just kind of depending on the day of the week, like Chelsea's Live. Teddy's Juke Joint is a great place to see the blues. That's one of our local legends who actually has a club where you can come and listen to blues music in his childhood home. And so that's a really great opportunity. Henry Gray's Listening Room is another one. Phil Brady's bar is another place. And so there's just a lot of different places to hear music. And then, like these other cities, it's just a real part of the Louisiana lifestyle that there's always kind of music in the air in Baton Rouge.
Excellent. Really, really good. I've never been to Baton Rouge, so I'm looking forward at some point in the near future, come to Baton Rouge and listen to blues. I absolutely love the blues. Yeah, it really is. Getting back to you, Megan, who are the famous musicians, music being so important, who are the famous musicians that have come from Louisiana?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's so many. We have Jelly Roll Morton. We have Louis Armstrong. We have Dewey Balfa. We have Buddy Guy, Jimmy Davis. Those are some of the icons and the legends of Louisiana. But yes, and we even have pop stars like Britney Spears and Lauren Daigle. So we have a lot of definitely a long list of local legends.
And Great Balls of Fire. He came from Louisiana, I think. Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And Harry Connick Jr.
Oh, yes.
Another Louisianan. Absolutely unbelievable. I can't wait. Well, let's get on. We're talking about music, and if you're listening to music in a nice bar and you've got a little drink going, what do you want to do? You probably want to drink more or you want to eat more. So if we're in Lafayette, Eugenie,
Yes.
what would you recommend that I do not leave town without eating?
You can't leave town without eating boudin. You have to try boudin. It's our local sausage, I guess you would say. It's stuffed with rice and meat and spices. It's very flavorful.
And you eat it dry? What do you eat it with?
No, you eat it dry. You just and actually most of the best places are just on the side of the road at a convenience store. We actually have a full Cajun boudin trail of places we recommend to try. One of the most iconic is Johnson's Boucanière, right in the downtown Lafayette area. They were the first they have the original recipe and the first family that sold boudin to the public. So it's iconic.
Excellent. And what about in New Orleans then, Chu? What would I eat there? What would you make sure I had before I left?
Are you going to be here for a month?
Well, let's say I've been there for a couple of days.
New Orleans we are really one of the best food destinations in the US. I mean, we were recently awarded TripAdvisor's best food destination in this year. So we're very proud of that. And it is truly one of the reasons why New Orleans is so loved. Visitors can choose from over 1,400 restaurants. We have restaurants that have been owned and operated by families generation after generation, that have influences from France, Spain, Hispanics, Asians. And also we have some really amazing award-winning new modern fusion restaurants in our offering as well. I love, if you wanted to do a taste of New Orleans with a short period of time, I definitely recommend a culinary tour. I love those because it doubles as a history tour. So you can do a walking tour of the French Quarter and stop by all these small restaurants and bars and venues and try all the top dishes New Orleans is known for. It's about 10 to 12 dishes, so you leave very full. So you get to try foods like jambalaya, gumbo, beignets, pralines, alligator sausage. It's really, really an amazing experience for those who want to come and learn about the food culture that is here.
Does alligator sausage have a bit of a bite to it?
No, it's delicious.
That was a pun. I like that.
That was my little joke, that one. I went when I was in when I was in New Orleans last. I actually met Emerald Lagasse. I don't know if he still has a restaurant in New Orleans, but he was the man, bam, and he used to put sort of like half a ton of salt into it until everybody realised it wasn't good for you. But when you're in New Orleans, you can walk around the streets and there are good restaurants almost everywhere, aren't there, Chu?
Yes, everywhere. Whether you're looking for something casual like a po' boy, or you just want a bowl of gumbo, or you just want a snack to eat, to for a formal dining restaurant, we have it all. One of my favorite things to do is a progressive dining experience where you just hop from restaurant to restaurant and you try all these small dishes. The French Quarter is so small; it's a 12 block by 6 block district. So it's really easy to walk and navigate through the quarters and go to multiple restaurants in one night.
Yeah, I think for most Europeans, that's an unusual experience, even though I have experienced it, and it's really good. You can have multiple, it's almost like having small meals everywhere, or having a starter one place, a main course another, and having a sweet at another restaurant. That's very cool. So what's the big gig in Baton Rouge then, Laura? What would you make sure that I would eat there?
Well, you have to take a few days, and that's for sure. Don't just come for one day. Make sure you come and you come hungry. But one of the things I think we do really well in Baton Rouge is putting a spin on some of the Louisiana classics. So you're going to find your gumbo, you're going to find your char-grilled oysters, you're going to find all the different things that we're famous for in Louisiana. But what I like is when we take something and kind of make it a little better. Here's the traditional dish. Now Baton Rouge might make it a little better. And one of the ways we've done this is actually with beignets. So my favorite beignet place is Coffee Call. But Coffee Call is not just known for its, pillowy, large, fluffy, covered in powdered sugar beignets, the classics, that Louisiana is known for, but rather what we call beignet fingers. And this spin on a classic is like a smaller, sliced up version, of the same thing. But when you bite into it, you maybe don't get the backlash of all the powdered sugar in your face. And of course, you can eat more, but they come piled high, filled with powdered sugar, or just topped with powdered sugar on a blue tray. And those beignet fingers are just an absolute, just to die for treat in Baton Rouge. And so you'll see people in Coffee Call at 1 a.m., you'll see them at, 5 a.m. You'll see them coming after a marathon. You'll see them coming in, kids coming in after a dance, from school. It's a tradition in Baton Rouge and definitely a great spin on a classic.
How many would be too many?
Oh, that is a hard question to answer. There is no limit. We'll put it that way. But I would say as many, eat to your heart's content, and then make sure you add a cafe au lait to it, of course.
So if I ate 4, would people think I'm a bit of a glutton?
No, I think you'd be fine.
Or
Well,
if you're
okay,
gonna have
well,
fingers,
next.
you probably
like a
have, because
dozen.
the size of them, if you're gonna have beignet fingers, you need like 10 or 12. You're good.
Oh, all right, okay. Well, I hope I become an expert in this beignet eating thing. I'll probably be like the Michelin man, or like the what's the dough man out of the Ghostbusters? Pillsbury dough man. I'm already a
Very
bit
dope.
like him. I don't want to get anything like him again. But anyway, so Megan, I've heard some strange sounding delicacies from Louisiana. One is called yakka mine. What is that?
Well, that is actually a New Orleans street food, and I'm going to have to explain it a little bit more in some detail, if that's okay.
Sure, absolutely. Megan's right. It is a street style food. It is a very it's a dish that does not scream New Orleans at all. It's more like a local insider secret that is now well known to locals and visitors alike. It is a dish that's made with it's well seasoned broth, noodles. It has beef, green onions, and the must topper is a half of a boiled egg. It's this recipe. It's from Miss Chef Linda Green. She's also known as a Yakamine lady. And she started making yakimean because she had lost her job after Hurricane Katrina. She came back to New Orleans, rebuilt her house, rebuilt her, brought her family back, but she wasn't able to get her job back at a local school. So she decided to start selling this dish on the back of her truck, and she along the parade routes. And it became so popular because it sold out every single time. She decided to go full time with it. And so today she has a full catering business, and you can find her at all the major food events and festivals. And also she has pop-ups, which she kind of hops around the city, and she will be serving at those pop-ups at any time in New Orleans at any day. That schedule can be found on her Facebook page. So you can go and meet Miss Linda and you can talk to her. She's a lovely, lovely, and a total icon here in New Orleans. Everyone loves her, very protective of her. And you can try this yakimean dish. And it does have Asian roots to it. This recipe has been handed down by generation after generation. It origin to when freed slaves married Asian Americans. So they shared a life, and they definitely shared a kitchen, and they blended their cultural cuisines. And so this is been in Miss Linda's family for generation after generation, and it's definitely a treat. And locals call it like the sober dish because they swear that it is the cure for the worst hangover. So
That
after
sounds
a
good.
night in the French Quarter, everyone looks for Miss Linda and her yakimean.
No wonder she sells a lot of it, I would think, if that's the magic ingredients to curing a hangover. Marvelous. But Megan, I'm assuming that in your research from a state tourism point of view, food is still high on the agenda for people visiting.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of our major pillars. So alongside music, we're also extremely well known for our food. And we have, just like music, the genres of music, we have different types of food that are iconic throughout Louisiana.
Excellent, excellent. Now, I'm going to ask each individual, including you, Megan, that I want one drink that I should have wherever you are in Louisiana. One drink. I don't want a list. I just want one drink that you think I should have when I come to Louisiana. So when I come visit you later on this year, this is the drink I must have. So, Eugenie, I'm in Lafayette. What am I drinking?
You're drinking a roulette. It's made with
Right.
our own sugarcane rum from Wildcat Brothers, and it's got several different local restaurants and bars make their own version of it, but it's, in my opinion, similar to a margarita, but with rum. Very tasty.
Fabulous. Baton Rouge. Laura, what am I drinking?
I would say probably a beer from one of our local breweries, probably Tin Roof, which is one that's just off the campus of Louisiana State University, LSU. And it's not just a great beer, but also a great experience, a lot of fun. They've got a lot of events going on. You could go do yoga while you drink your beer, and do all the things. So, a beer with an experience is always the best way to do it.
Excellent. Chew, New Orleans. What cocktail or drink am I having?
A Sazerac. It's a whiskey-based cocktail. It has roots in New Orleans and Louisiana. We even have a museum that's dedicated to this particular cocktail, as well as cocktails all around the world. But you can find at any bar, any hotel bar, at the museum in New Orleans. This definitely would be the first drink.
And then we're going to need some of the what's it called, Yak Carmine, if we have too many of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Megan, you've got the whole state to choose from. What am I drinking in Louisiana? What would you recommend? What's your
Well,
signature cocktail or beer or whatever you want to give me?
Well, I was gonna say what you said, the Sazerac, because it is like America's most well-known cocktail. It was invented in the city of New Orleans. But I'll go a little outside of the box, and I'm gonna say a daiquiri, which is you can get it in multiple different types of flavors. But it's like, think of like a slushy with a lot of alcohol in it. And you can actually, there are some locations where you can drive They have a drive-through window.
That's right.
Drive-through window with lots of alcohol slushy. That sounds like
And it's
not
legal
a
with
good
your
safety
piece of
policy.
tape.
I beg your pardon?
You put a piece of tape over the straw, and so it's legal to drive in your car with it.
This sounds like some sort of science fiction movie. I go up to an alcoholic slush puppy station and then drink one and then start driving away. But it all sounds, joking apart, it all sounds absolutely fantastic. And I'd just like to thank all of you for all your contributions. It's been really interesting. I'm hoping that the people listening to this will take all of this on board. And if they're into music and they're into food and all the other things that Louisiana has to offer, we'll be talking about in the future, that they'll choose to take their vacations and their holidays in Louisiana. And if the hospitality shown today and the good humour shown today is any indication from the rest of the population, then I'm sure they're in for a good time. So thank you once again. It's been really, really interesting.
Thank you.
Au revoir.
Thank you.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Well, that was brilliant, and that was very, very informative. But now we're going to have some even more in-depth looks at these three destinations. And so I'm delighted to say that first up be Tew from New Orleans.
New Orleans is a one-of-a-kind destination in the United States. We are famous for our Creole and Cajun, as well as international cuisine, jazz music, historic architecture, and genuine hospitality. From low-lit jazz bars to booming nightclubs, we have it all. You can dance on a balcony overlooking Bourbon Street, sing karaoke, or take in a nightcap at a jazz bar. Here at night, R&B, pop, reggae, blues fill the air in our streets. With over 130 festivals a year, there is a celebration for everything and everyone. A wonderful way to experience New Orleans culture. New Orleans' newest attraction, View Orleans. This is a one-of-a-kind indoor and outdoor observatory and cultural experience featuring the only 360-degree panoramic riverfront views of New Orleans. Award-winning restaurants is one of the main reasons why New Orleans is so loved. The dining scene is a reflection on the city's diverse history, culture, and neighborhoods. Visitors can choose from our iconic restaurants or our new restaurants that incorporate international influence and fun.
Thank you, Tew. Now we can go to Eugenie from Lafayette. Take it away, Eugenie.
Thank you, Graham, and welcome to Lafayette, Louisiana. We are Cajun and Creole country, French Louisiana, and we're named the happiest city in America. We are known for our cultural experiences. This is one of our historic and cultural villages from Millionville that focuses on lifestyle, so you can learn what life was like when Lafayette was first settled. It's an interactive experience where artisans are in costuming and doing crafts, and it's a great way to start in the Lafayette area to learn more. When you come to Lafayette, you need to experience a festival. Locals love it. We love our visitors to join us. Most of them are free, and we celebrate everything. We always have great food, live music. It's a really great way to see the Lafayette experience. Our largest festival is Festival International de Louisiane. It's in April, and it's over 5 days and 5 stages, and focuses on Francophone music from all over the world, but has amazing art and food and just an overall amazing experience. Of course, festivals are not the only way to hear great music in our area. We are home to Cajun and Zydeco music, which is very vibrant and fun. So you can hear music at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner, in a hole-in-the-wall little place, but it's definitely something to do while in the area. This is Buck and Johnny's at Zydeco breakfast, which is so much fun. I invite you to come and taste true Cajun and Creole food. What our ancestors cooked, we still cook today. Our local boudin, gumbo, we love our seafood. So come and enjoy a meal with us. One of the must-do stops in our area is Avery Island, the home of Tabasco pepper sauce, the only place where it's bottled in the world. You can do tours, you can taste products, everything from Tabasco ice cream to chocolate to all their sauces, and some amazing experiences here. Visit our art galleries and museums. Most of them are located around the downtown Lafayette area, so it makes it easy to explore and experience a little bit more. And of course, the outdoor experiences. Everybody wants to see an alligator and explore the swamp area. It's quite picturesque, but swamp tours are an amazing way to see the outdoors and to take some amazing pictures and learn about our ecology and the swamps itself. I invite you to come and experience Lafayette, to learn about our area and to see the state of Louisiana. And please know that we want to have you as our visitor, and thank you for your time today.
And last but not least, it's Laura from Baton Rouge.
Hey guys, I'm Laura with Visit Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is actually the capital city of Louisiana, and we are the perfect spot to see picturesque views of the Mississippi River, to experience a vibrant art scene, and of course to enjoy some incredible food and music. We hope you'll come and see us. A little bit about us: we got our name from some early French explorers who crossed the Mississippi River and who found a red stick separating tribal hunting grounds. So 300 years later, people are still discovering the unique sights, sounds, and of course the taste of Baton Rouge. So research has shown us that visitors to our capital city spend far more on food than anything else when they're in town. That's more than hotels, accommodations, retail, even gasoline. And honestly, we can't blame them. We're a mix of Cajun and Creole influences. I know we're talking a lot about both Lafayette and New Orleans today as well. So both of those influences really came into the capital city, and we are sandwiched right between those two cities. Our restaurants really pride themselves on perfecting Louisiana classics, like some of the ones you see here. Char-grilled oysters from Phil's Oyster Bar, crab meat au gratin from Mike Anderson's, shrimp po' boy at Po' Boy Lloyd's, and of course, hot gumbo, which is delicious on a cool day, from the Chimes. These dishes have made our state famous, and of course, they're a treat any day of the week, prepared by a ton of chefs here in Baton Rouge. But one of the things that our chefs and our restaurateurs really are known for is putting a unique spin on Louisiana classics, things that you might have heard of, but you haven't seen done in these different ways. So one of these unique spins is Coffee Call. It's a kind of hole-in-the-wall beignet shop, and they're famous for their beignet fingers. And these are small, thinner versions of the famous pillowy pastries, and they're delivered to the table on plates stacked really high, on a blue tray, covered, of course, in powdered sugar. And they are actually so famous that Coffee Call was voted to have the best beignets in New Orleans, even though, of course, we are our own city. But Food and Wine magazine basically said that these are the best beignets in the region and worth a visit for. So it doesn't really stop there with our kind of fusion cuisine. Our restaurateurs are, kind of taking things in different direction, taking our local ingredients and presenting them in new ways. So these other unique spins include a mix of Louisiana and Mexican flavors. There's a restaurant called Mestizos that has great crawfish tacos made by Chef Jim Urdialis. Our delicious Gulf seafood is already also prepared with an Italian spin at a classic dish at Rafino's, a seafood arancini ball, which is jumbo Gulf shrimp, blue crab meat, of course made with cheese and risotto. It is fabulous. I'd also recommend the crawfish mazaman at Boru Ramen, which mixes some Louisiana spices, some crawfish tails, and all together with, of course, this trendy ramen bowl. You might also want to consider planning your trip around one of our food festivals, which are mostly concentrated in the spring. Zapp's International Beer Festival is popular for the beer enthusiasts who enjoy maybe a garden stroll while sampling local beers and drinks all around the world. And then crawfette. Of course, we are known here in Louisiana for our crawfish, and crawfette is a great time in the spring also where you can sample a little bit of our favorite food season. We also have an annual soul food festival, and it'll draw you in with mouth-watering Southern flavors, mostly prepared by our African American chefs. If you're visiting with a family or a group, I'd really recommend an experience, something that kind of takes you, deeper into the food scene. Something gets you a little hands-on. You could cook a classic dish with Chef Celeste. You could make a cocktail while you do a craft, a DIY disco. You could have the tipsy librarian teach you how to make your own cocktail, or maybe have a whole group get together and do Louisiana Culinary Institute's cooking competition, or even go to Tony's Seafood and get some crawfish, some shrimp, and other ingredients, and have a big table with a seafood boil, a crawfish boil. Of course, we have a mild climate most months of the year. So our patios, rooftops, they're ideal for your group. If you are coming in, I'd suggest Building 5 with live music, shareable boards, main lobby, which is a Black-owned rooftop bar with Capitol views, views of our beautiful Capitol building. And then Tsunami, which is a sushi restaurant with a beautiful view of the Mississippi River. And Curbside Burgers, which is just a fabulous place kind of for a party, even for the family, to have a burger, underneath the shade of an oak tree. Great place to be. We've been kind of called the Louisiana's undercover, culinary capital. We've also been named a top food destination. So I highly recommend that you take multiple days to fit in all of the delicious food on your itinerary. So if you come for the food, you'll definitely want to stay for the music. And you'll find live music everywhere from kind of dive bars to big arenas here in Baton Rouge. Casual patio performances, outdoor live music in the heart of downtown Baton Rouge. There's really nothing like it. But Teddy's Juke Joint is a place where I'd recommend. It's a legendary blues club. It's actually in the childhood home of Teddy Johnson, the namesake for the club. Chelsea's Live has live music of kind of all different genres, drinks, of course, and theme nights. Beauregard Park, which almost feels kind of like a backyard vibe with a casual venue. Bring your own drinks in, get to know the people around you. A great place for a fun time. You can also definitely stop in for some of our music festivals and concert series. One of the music festivals that I would highly recommend is our Baton Rouge Blues Festival. We are known, of course, in Baton Rouge for our blues music, and we actually have the oldest blues festival in the U.S. Right here, and that's over 25,000 attendees, multiple stages, and it is all completely free. So highly recommend you check that out in usually April. But while you're in town, also most times of year, you can take advantage of one of our many concert series. A lot of these are kind of neighborhood or regionally based, and they're really all around town. And then, of course, where you kind of see the crossroads of both our food and our music, you get to our tailgating scene. We are the home of two very large universities, a historically Black college, Southern University, and then also the flagship school of Louisiana, Louisiana State University. And both have not only great athletics, but also an incredible tailgating scene where collegiate sports kind of drive this popular, kind of feasting and partying atmosphere. And 100,000 people, 100,000 of your closest friends are out there for your pregame tailgating tradition. And it's a whole opportunity to just enjoy a huge part of Louisiana culture. So all of it, from the tailgating to the food, to the music, we're proud to be Louisiana's capital city. And honestly, we think we're the perfect place for you to experience a rich culture, the food, and of course the music right here from Louisiana. We hope y'all join us. Bye.